Today marks the start of President-elect Joe Biden's presidential transition. He's also expected to name his coronavirus task force. The Biden campaign says the task force will be co-chaired by former Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy and former FDA Commissioner Dr. David Kessler. They will brief President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris in Wilmington, Delaware this morning. After, President-elect Biden will deliver remarks on his COVID-19 plan. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has yet to concede the election while his campaign pursues legal challenges in several battleground states. Senior White House officials tell CBS News the president won't concede until all legal options are exhausted and when the final numbers reflect a Biden win. Many Americans are still dealing with an unusually high level of anxiety after the outcome of this 2020 presidential election. Experts from the American Psychological Association says 68% of Americans are still feeling stressed. The Valley Today's Brian Sherrod joins us live this morning with some tips to help you bring those anxiety levels down. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Lisa. You know, 68% is pretty high, especially when this is just the outcome of how people feel after this election was pretty much over. And this is 52% higher with 2016 or 2020 than it was with 2016's election. Now, this is because people are thinking with the emotional part of their brain. This is triggering their trauma, and it's also doing their fight-to-flight response. Now, these experts are telling you tips that are pretty easy, and they're pretty free as well. So the Red River, for example, there's a beautiful trail you can walk. You can sit at a picnic table, listen to the beautiful water, or even go over the bridge. These are some steps you can do here in Fargo that will calm you down, and that's just in Fargo. Let's let you know some tips in general. Limit social media more. Being online for specific times and not hours long. Find a hobby that you can enjoy. It provides a healthy distraction. Give your grace for how you feel, and being overwhelmed at times is perfectly normal. Get out of the house even for a short time. Being cooped up in four walls can also overwhelm you. That sunlight and fresh air is good for your physical well-being, and enjoy the people you have in your life. These close friends and relatives should have a bigger impact than strangers, and humor in your life is good for your spirit. Experts are saying that the breather is letting people know that the election cycle doesn't last forever, and that's the voting process, not the actual presidency. And also letting you know if these tips don't work for you, go to a professional.
Great advice this morning. Brian Sherrod reporting live. Thank you. Minnesota State Troopers say both drivers had been drinking before a fiery car crashed over the weekend that left one of their passengers fighting for her life. The State Patrol says a 23-year-old man either sideswiped or rear-ended another car around midnight yesterday in Golden Valley. His SUV rolled. His passenger was thrown from the vehicle. The other vehicle crashed into a highway ramp and started on fire, but the driver luckily was not hurt. A Fargo family has a major home repair bill after police say a driver smashed his car into their house. Check out the damage in the 3500 block of Woodbury Park Drive South. Officers got the call just after 2 yesterday morning and found a pickup had hit the house. There's significant damage, including a large deck that appears to have been ripped from the building. Police arrested 25-year-old Leighton Willington for DUI. They say he had a blood alcohol reading of 0.28, which is more than 3 times the legal limit for driving. No one in the house was hurt. A Fargo man is dead after crashing a small plane in the Badlands of western North Dakota. It happened around 7 Saturday night near the town of Dunn Center in Dunn County. The Highway Patrol says 43-year-old Christopher Hans took off from a private runway and crashed into a nearby hill shortly after takeoff. Authorities say it was dark and foggy at the time. The Highway Patrol has released the name of a Fargo man killed in a crash on I-29. He was 26-year-old Damon Williams. Troopers say he was heading south on I-29 near Buxton when he rear-ended a semi. The beloved host of Jeopardy for more than 3 decades has died at the age of 80. Alex Trebek had been fighting pancreatic cancer for nearly 2 years. He died at home early Sunday with family and friends at his side. Big changes on their way, just like she forecasts. Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green. Lots to talk about this morning.
That's true. Yes, we're talking about big changes in temperatures, and it's definitely going to feel a lot different for you when you step out the door this morning. But also there's some precipitation out there that we're tracking as well. You could see a little bit of rain showing up on our live view at the Dakota Magic Casino near Hankinson, right along the state line with South Dakota. Little wind too, kind of moving the light poles there as well. So that wind's going to pick up yet again today. Not as intense as yesterday, though. I'm thinking we won't see winds that strong. Here's a look look at our travel forecast, expect to use caution, need to use caution here this morning and through even the lunch hour because we've got that rain, snow potential in the south and east. Now, if you're up by Devil's Lake, it's a different story for you, but it's cold, a lot colder there, in fact, here to start off your day. Here's a look at the radar and satellite map. We have lots of color here showing up. We're looking at snow aloft right now in southeastern North Dakota. And it looks heavy, but that could be a situation because we're close to a transition in temperatures where it's melting a little bit, and that could confuse the radar a bit into thinking that it's heavier snowfall. That reflectivity is a little bit stronger. But we're looking at some snow potential and definitely some rain we've been seeing here this morning in the south and east, stretching all the way up toward Bemidji and in that direction. So eastern and southern ends of the viewing area is where we're focused for that precipitation. And if you're not seeing snow now, we could see that transition happen. So be aware and be ready for that. The roads are pretty warm right now, given how warm we've been, but we may see some bridge decks, some of those higher elevation areas where we get a little bit of accumulation or maybe even some icing. And check out Fargo. We're at 32 degrees right now. So that's an area of concern. Sisseton has been at 32 for a while. The North Dakota DOT has been reporting a little bit of ice on the road in southeastern North Dakota. So please be careful as you're getting ready to head out here today. And we're not going to see much change in temperatures here. We'll see the rain and snow end into late afternoon, but you can see temperatures basically staying where they're at. So some 20s to some 30s today. Given we were in the 70s yesterday, we broke records for highs. This is going to be a huge transition. So be ready for it. Put on that winter coat. You may even need to grab that umbrella today as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess out there today. Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
New this morning, scattered showers hitting parts of the Florida Keys are giving way to gusty winds and heavy downpours as Tropical Storm Ada spins closer to the Sunshine State. Rain was falling sideways overnight and big waves were crashing against the shoreline in Key Largo as sustained winds of 55 miles per hour and wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour hit the area. The Florida Keys remain under a hurricane warning. There's a big expansion coming to Minnesota's COVID testing toolkit. Governor Tim Walz is announcing the upgrade today at a saliva testing site in Minneapolis. He'll be joined by the state health commissioner and a vice president for Vault Health, which is conducting saliva tests across the state. Meanwhile, Minnesota ranks 12th in the country for new cases per capita in the last 2 weeks. There are more than 5,900 cases and 31 deaths, bringing that total to 2,656. North Dakota's position as the country's COVID-19 leader relative to population showed no signs of improvement, with the positivity rate now over 18%. The state health department is reporting more than 1,100 new cases, 11 new deaths, and a daily positivity rate of 18.25%. Grand Forks County led the way yesterday with 187 new positive tests. In our consumer alert this morning, the price of gas in North Dakota is down to the lowest level they've been since June and is expected to continue to drop. Gas prices are expected to dip below the $2 mark for November. Last year around the same time, drivers were paying around $2.55. AAA says we're now seeing these low prices because of COVID-19. Don't be surprised if you see some North Dakota State Troopers with facial hair this month. They're participating in No Shave November and raising money for a fellow trooper who has a son with muscular dystrophy. Last year, the North Dakota Highway Patrol raised $8,000 for the St. Jude's Foundation. Their goal this year is to raise $10,000. You can help by checking out the Highway Patrol's Facebook page. The opener took a wild turn for one Minnesota man when he spotted a wide-jawed reptile lurking in the weeds. Corey Klockick of Zimmerman, Minnesota, shot this 10-point buck, and when he made his way toward it, he spotted that in his hands, a 3-foot alligator. He called the DNR to ask what to do. They said, go ahead and shoot it, which he did. He thinks maybe the reptile was someone's pet, but got dumped when it got too big. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question: 1 in 7 people have requested this at a fast food drive-thru. Can't forget your dog. The answer: treats for your pup. Remember, you can play along by heading to our Valley News Live Facebook page. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. Join us right now for more live, up-to-the-minute news and weather on the Fargo CW.